Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Podcast Special Edition series. This is the MLB trade value list. I have a list with guys ranked 1 through 100 based on their trade value. In my opinion, the rules of this is it complicates your WAR, wins above replacement, how much longer you have until you're a free agent, and how much you make contractualized. It's the combination of those three things. And before we start, I have a couple honorable mentions and a couple guys I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about prospects who are in the minors and needs more big league time before they can belong on this list. And that's Bo Bichette of the Blue Jays, who's making his big league debut tonight. Brendan McKay of the Rays, who's been up and down from the minors this year. Michael Kopech, who's recovering from Tommy John surgery, but he's still considered a prospect at this point. And Kyle Tucker, who hasn't seen big league time yet. Injured players that are out with injuries: Luis Severino of the Yankees, Dellin Betances of the Yankees, Michael Fulmer of the Tigers, Tajon Walker of the Diamondbacks, who all when healthy would help their respective teams. And one more of the injured players that I need to mention is Sean Manaea of the Oakland Athletics, who hit the Red Sox last year. So he obviously has to be on the injured players list that would have been considered. All right, I have 31 honorable mentions I'd like to get to. And this is nothing to sneeze about, just throwing them out. My number one honorable mention is Charlie Blackmon. His WAR is 1.4, $19.25 million. He's getting paid this year. He's a free agent in 2022. He's having a solid year. His power's back up. He won the June National League Player of the Month. And he's someone that just didn't crack the top 100. He would have been 101. Number two honorable mention is Chris Sale, who's having a down year by his standards. His WAR is 2.3, making $8.42 million this year, and then has that big extension coming up starting next year. When it kicks in, he's going to be making $29 million a year. Isn't a free agent again until 2025, so that's a big reason why he's not even in the top 100, because of his poor year this year, and he's starting to get overpaid after this season. 3, Patrick Corbin. This is solely because of his contract. I just think he's overpaid at $23.3 million a year. He's a free agent in 2025. He's a good WAR at 3.7. He's really pitched better than I expected for the Nationals. He's their number 3 starter, pitching like a number 2 or a number 1 in some cases. 4 on the honorable mentions is Madison Bumgarner. A big reason why he's an honorable mention and not in the top 100 is because he's a free agent at the end of the year, making $8.29 million, and his WAR is 1.6. Part of that's because he's on that bad Giants team, and he's had a couple stinker starts, like his last one against the Padres. Number 5 honorable mentions is Justin Turner of the Dodgers. He's on the honorable mentions because he's getting a little older. $16 million a year, which is a fair price for him. 2.6 WAR, free agent in 2021, meaning the 2020-2021 offseason. So he has 2 more years left on his contract. 6, Eddie Rosario with the Twins in terms of the honorable mentions. A 1.8 WAR. Someone that's having a good year for the Twins, making $4.19 million. A free agent after the 2021 season. 7th honorable mention is Miguel Sano of the Twins. Has a WAR of 1.7, making $2.65 million a year. A free agent after 2021. 8, Michael Conforto of the Mets, 1.7 WAR, $4.03 million. He's getting paid this year at free agent after 2021. 9th in terms of honorable mentions, Daniel Vogelbach, 1.8 WAR, making $559,000, free agent after 2024. Why is he on honorable mentions, you ask me? It's because he's not a great defensive player. 10, Jorge Soler, WAR of 0.7. $3.33 million, free agent after 2021. He's someone that's having a career year this year, but he has a low batting average, and he's somebody that just really hasn't lived up to what the Cubs thought. But he's having his best year in the pros this year at the Royals. So if you ask me why he's lower on this list, it's because of his low batting average. 11, Nomar Mazara in terms of honorable mention. His WAR is 0.2. $3.3 million, free agent after 2021. 12, Brian Anderson of the Marlins, WAR of 2.3, making $585,000, free agent after 2023. He's a player that's improving, in my opinion, but somebody that is stuck on the Marlins, and like I said, he's versatile, but he's not spectacular defensively, per se. 13 is Will Smith, 1.4 WAR, making $4.23 million, free agent after this year. That's why he's not in the top 100. A lot of guys that are free agents after this season are not on the top 100 because they're free agents. If you're in the top 100 in trade value, and if you're a free agent, that means you must be a really good player or a great player. 14, Zach Greinke, 4.5 WAR, making $34.4 million, free agent after 2021. Contract is why he's off the top 100. 15, JD Martinez of the Red Sox in terms of honorable mentions, 1.5 WAR, making a shade notch below $22 million. Free agent after 2023, but he has an opt-out after this year. The opt-out is why he's not in the top 100, and plus he's a DH. 16, John Lester, 1.6 WAR, making $25.8 million. 2021 is when he's a free agent, but he has an option for 2021. So, why is he not in the top 100? Contract. 17, Shane Green, a WAR of 1.5, making $4 million a year, free agent after 2020. 18, Calamels, a WAR of 3, making $21.625 million, free agent after this season. 19, still in honorable mentions, Masahiro Tanaka, a 0.6 WAR, making $22.14 million, free agent after 2020. Garrett Cooper's number 20 on the list, 1.6 WAR, $555,000, free agent after 2023. Why is he this low? Because this feels like a career year for him. 21 honorable mentions is Kyle Schwarber. He has a WAR of 0.1, making $3.39 million, free agent after 2021. He's just a below-average defensive player. 22, Jesse Winker, a WAR of 0.2, making $580,000, free agent after 2023. 23, Kristen Stewart, a WAR of 0.1, making $556,000, free agent after 2024. 24, James Paxton, a WAR of 0.2, making $8.58 million, free agent after 2020. 25, in terms of honorable mentions, Cole Calhoun, a WAR of 2.4, making $8.66 million, free agent after 2020. Actually, no, after 2020, assuming he picks up his option. Marcelo Zunas, 26, has a WAR of 1.6, making $12.25 million, free agent after the year. 27, Yasiel Puig, a WAR of 1.1, making $9.7 million, free agent after the year. 28, Jose Abreu, a WAR of 1.1, making $16 million, free agent after this year. 29, Dallas Keuchel, a WAR of 0.8, making $13 million, free agent after this year. 30, Didi Gregorius, a WAR of 0.7, making $11.75 million, free agent after this year. And last but not least, in terms of honorable mentions, Nicholas Castellanos, a WAR of 1.2, making $9.95 million, free agent after this year. All right, without further ado, your top 100 players ranked because of trade value. These are not the top 100 players in baseball, or else JD Martinez would have been on that list. And some other guys in the honorable mentions would have been on that list. So, these are guys strictly on trade value. 100 is Mitch Garver having a career year on the Twins. A WAR of 2.7, making $575,000, free agent after 2023. He's been a good catcher for the Twins. Is their starting catcher now. Took the job over from Jason Castro. So, good for him. 99 is Anthony Rizzo, the first baseman of the Cubs. 2.7 WAR, making $6.825 million. He has some options after this year, so he can conceivably be a free agent after this season. But like I said, the Cubs will probably pick up his options. 98 is Aaron Hicks of the Yankees. He has been not great after coming back from the injured list, but his past few years, he really has put together and salvaged his career a lot. He has a WAR of 1.3 this year, making $10 million a year, free agent after 2025 season, but has an option for 2026. 97 is Jordan Yamamoto, a WAR of .5, making 500 grand, free agent after 2026. Somebody that really has emerged as a building block for the Marlins this year. 96, Marco Gonzalez, a WAR of 1.9, making 950 grand, free agent after 2023. The ace of the staff for the Mariners. 95 is Robbie Ray. The Diamondbacks could be traded within the next 45 hours or so. More like 43, 42 hours. WAR of 1.1, making $6.05 million, free agent after 2020. His trade value couldn't be higher, in my opinion. Someone's going to overpay for him come Wednesday, whether it's New York or Houston. 94 is Sonny Gray. Really good bounce back year this year for the Reds after coming over in the trade with the Yankees after a disappointing Yankees tenure. He has a WAR of 3, making $9.5 million this year, free agent after 2022. That was smart of the Reds to extend him too. 93, Heijun Ryu, a WAR of 4.5, making a shade under $18 million, free agent after the season. Why is he in the top 100 if he's a free agent after a year? That's because he's having a career year helping the Dodgers win yet another division crown and pitching like an ace of a staff rather than the number 3 starter. And he's properly paid too, but I think someone's going to overpay Heijun Ryu this winter. 92, Trey Mancini, a WAR of 1.5, making 576 grand, free agent after 2022. Solid player for the Orioles that could be traded within the next 42 hours. 91, Tyler O'Neill, WAR of 0.3, making 564 grand, free agent after 2024. Young up-and-coming player for the Cardinals who I think will help him for a long time. 90, Hunter Dozier, a WAR of 1.7, making 567 grand, free agent after 2023. Dozier having a career year this year, even though his WAR's not really showing it. And I think he's a building block for the Royals for years to come. 89, Kirby Yates, a WAR of 2.5, making $3.06 million, free agent after 2020. Somebody that's on the trade block right now, and I think could be overpaid for at the trade deadline by somebody. 88, Felipe Vasquez, a WAR of 2.0, making $5.5 million, free agent after 2021, but has 2 options. So since of the 2 options, he could possibly be a free agent after 2023. So that would really help a team that would be acquiring Vasquez if he were available at the deadline. And this is the highest ranked reliever on this list. Next couple guys are free agent signings that worked out for these respective teams. 87, DJ LeMahieu, he has a WAR of 4.5, making $12 million a year. Free agent after 2020. Great pickup by the Yankees. I think the best signing of the offseason in terms of a position player. 86, Lance Lynn, Texas Rangers, has a WAR of 5, making $10 million a year. Free agent after 2021. A signing that the media mocked actually turned out to be a great signing for that team. Could be trade bait within the next 42 hours, as well as number 85, Mike Minor, has a WAR of 5.8, making $9.3 million. Free agent after 2020. 84, Matthew Boyd of the Tigers, he has a WAR of 3, $2.6 million, free agent after 2022. I'm not big on Matt Boyd because he's somebody that's similar to Robbie Ray in the fact that he strikes a lot of guys out, but really doesn't get other big outs. He gives up a lot of runs per se. Boyd's higher than Ray on this list because Boyd has more years of control left. That's the difference. 83, Joey Gallo, making $606 grand, free agent after 2022, having the best year of his career with the Rangers so far. 82, Jameson Taillon, 0.3 WAR this year, $588 grand, free agent after 2022. Why is he on the list and he's injured right now? At least he played this year. He's somebody that could be back for the Pirates at some point. And if he were on the trade market right now, I think, despite being injured, could bring Pittsburgh back a haul because he's shown that he could be an ace of a staff. 81, Franmil Reyes, 0.3 WAR, making $571 grand, free agent after 2024. A good power hitter and somebody that I think the Padres might deal in the right deal, but somebody that is a good player. 80, Michael Chavis, War of .6, making $500,000, free agent after 2024. Somebody that has made an instant impact as a rookie for the Red Sox this year. 79, Nate Lowe. War of .8, making $500,000, free agent after 2024. Somebody that's made an instant impact for the Rays. 78, Nick Senzel, making $500,000 with the War of .6, free agent after 2025. Somebody that really has helped the Reds and somebody that will help the Reds for years. 77, Austin Riley with the War of .7, making $500,000, free agent after 2025. Instant impact player for Atlanta as well. 76, Christian Walker, 1.6 WAR, $560,000 he's making, free agent after 2024. What a find for Arizona, and somebody that I think it will be a keeper for them long term. And obviously this year is having a career year. 75, Mike Clevenger. Here's a WAR of .9, making $592,000. Free agent after 2022. He's a good middle of the rotation guy. Ace capability, but has been injury prone. 74, Matt Olson with the WAR of 2.2, making $575,000. Free agent after 2023. Good power hitter, but doesn't hit for average very much. 73, Trey Turner, .7 WAR, $3.73 million he's making, free agent after 2022. A lot of people should be arguing, why isn't he not higher on the list? He's been hurt a lot in his career, that's all. And he's been hurt this year, and that really has hurt him in this list. 72, Tommy Pham. He has a WAR of 2.7, making $4.1 million, free agent after 2021. A great pickup for the Rays, having a great year for them as well. 71, Ramon Laureano with the WAR of 2.9, making $558,000, free agent after 2024. Great find for Oakland, playing excellent center field, having a career year offensively too. 70, J2 Realmuto, 2.5 WAR, making $5.9 million, free agent after 2020. The reason why he's not ranked with the other best catchers in the game is because he's a free agent after next season. 69, Brandon Lau of the Rays, a WAR of 2.8, making $4 million. His contract's up in 2024, but he has two options, so that's why he's this high on the list. 68, Noah Syndergaard, WAR of 1.2, making $6 million a year, free agent after 2021. Why is he this high? Because he's rightfully in demand at the trade deadline and somebody that I think can land the Mets a nice haul. 67, Hunter Renfroe, making $582,000, WAR of 3.1, free agent after 2023. He's someone that's putting together a good year for the Padres, and I think is somebody that is trending upward. 66, Keston Hiura, 1.7 WAR, making $500,000, free agent after 2026. Hiura is somebody that's been one of the better rookies in the National League since he's been called up. Instant impact for the Brewers. 65, Whit Merrifield, 2.9 WAR, making just above $4 million, free agent after 2022. This guy is somebody that the Royals would need a Godfather offer to deal. He's this high because of the great contract, and you still have a couple more years before he's a free agent. 64, Sandy Alcantara has a WAR of 1, making $555,000, free agent after 2024. He's somebody that is trending up for the Marlins as they build their new good young staff. 63, Zach Plesac, WAR of 1.1, making $500,000, free agent after 2024. I love this kid. This kid really has shown me a lot since coming up in the bigs. He'll be a good middle rotation guy for them. 62, Tyler Glasnow of the Rays, 1.9 WAR, making $567,000, free agent after 2023. He's obviously injured right now, has been hurt for a while, but was off to a great start this year for Tampa. 61, Caleb Smith, a WAR of 2.2, making $557,000, free agent after 2023. He's somebody that really has emerged as the ace of the Marlins staff and somebody that he just stole in a trade. 60, John Means, WAR of 3.6, making $555,000, $556,000, free agent after 2024. This is the ace of the Orioles staff. His trade value is so high right now. If I'm the Orioles, do you trade him and get a monster haul to accelerate your rebuild, or you keep him and have him be the ace of your future? So some questions there for Baltimore as they go forward. 59, Eugenio Suarez, WAR of 1.8, making $9.42 million, free agent after 2024. Good contract he signed there about a year or two ago, and really has been more than worth his contract. So he's exceeded the contract of his great play for the Reds these past 2 years. 58 and 57 are two fine catchers in baseball. I think the two best all-around / offensive catchers in the game. That's Gary Sanchez and Wilson Contreras. Sanchez making $670,000, Contreras making $684,000. Both free agents after 2022. Contreras' WAR is 2.7, Sanchez's 2.2. Sanchez's WAR is lower because he was on the injured list and is on the injured list right now, and went into that slump before he got hurt again. Sanchez, I have 57, Contreras 58. Both these guys are franchise catchers. 56, Yoan Moncada of the White Sox having a career year this year. WAR of 2.7, $575,000 he's making, free agent after 2023. So he's finally living up to what the Red Sox and the White Sox thought he was in the White Sox case is going to be. 55, Trevor Bauer, a WAR of 2.4, making $13 million this year, free agent after 2020. And another guy that was just traded, Marcus Stroman, 3.2 WAR, making $7.4 million, free agent after 2020. I put those guys together because they were both in consideration of trades. Stroman got traded. Who knows about Bauer? But I had Stroman ahead because he's just been a little bit better than Bauer this year, although I trust Bauer more in a big spot than Stroman. And Stroman, I think, will help the Mets, but not really this year because they're out of it, but definitely next year, unless they end up trading him again, which I think is kind of likely. And we'll see if Bauer gets moved within the next 42 hours or not. 53, Mitch Haniger of the Mariners, 1.4 WAR, making $590,000, free agent after 2022. He's somebody that is hurt right now and was off to a tough start this year, but had a career year last year, and I believe in that kid. 52, Byron Buxton has a WAR of 2.9, making $1.75 million, free agent after 2022. He's somebody that is currently on the injury list right now, too. 51, Carlos Correa has a WAR of 2.2, making $5 million a year, free agent after 2021. And Corey Seager has a WAR of 2.3, making $4 million a year, free agent after 2021 as well. These are two shortstops that haven't lived up to the expectations that were given by the media. Both of these guys, many people thought were going to be MVP candidates. They're not that. They're a notch below that, and I'm not saying these guys are bad players per se. They're still very good players, but they're not what they were expected to be. 49, Clayton Kershaw, WAR of 2.4, making $31 million, free agent after 2021. He's pitched very well this year, but nobody's really talking about it. Just a good under-the-radar Clayton Kershaw year for him. Depends on what he does in the playoffs to silence the doubters, though. 48, Charlie Morton has a WAR of 4.1, making $15 million a year, free agent after 2020, but has a vesting option for 2021. Why is he higher than the likes of DJ LeMahieu and the two guys from the Rangers? Because Morton has really been more valuable to the Rays than those other guys have been for their respective teams, and pitchers are really better in terms of value. And yes, DJ LeMahieu has been the MVP of the Yankees this year, but he's not their best player. And there's guys on the Yankees that have more trade value than DJ LeMahieu, as much as people wouldn't think so. And Charlie Morton, if he were on the market right now, would be gauging a lot of value. 47, Paul DeJong, 3.2 WAR, making $4.33 million, free agent after 2023. He's having an okay year this year. Has some good power, but not hitting for average. 46, Anthony Rendon. He's in a contract year, so free agent after this year, making $18.8 million. as a WAR of 3.9. That's just because he's having such a big impact on the Nationals this year. He's not going to get traded this year. And he's somebody that the Nats might lose for nothing if they don't extend him. So Rendon is this high because he's really having a big impact on the team's playoff chances. And he's not really a rental for anybody. 45, Max Kepler, WAR of 2.9, making $7 million. Free agent after 2023 with an option for 2024. He's having a career year for the Twins and is provide great defense out in the outfield. 44, Yordan Alvarez is a WAR of 1.5, making $500,000. Free agent after 2026. Why is he this high? People are asking. Well, this guy, I think, is going to be a franchise player and somebody that's better than what his WAR has shown. He's already putting up gaudy offensive numbers. He's probably a DH long term, but he's somebody that really can hit. 43, Austin Meadows has the WAR of 2, making $557,000 for agent after 2024. They literally robbed him from Pittsburgh with Tyler Glasnow. Tampa, I'm talking about. And Meadows is somebody that I think might be in a Rays uniform for a while if he continues to play fine ball. 42, Gleyber Torres. He's a WAR of 2.4, making $605,000 for agent after 2024. He's somebody that is an average defensive player, but is a great offensive player, and I think he's only going to get better. And don't forget, he's only 21 years old. 41, Alex Verdugo is a WAR of 3.4, making $560,000 for agent after 2024. There's a reason why the Dodgers didn't include him in any deals. This guy is the real deal, and the same could be said about Torres. 40, Shane Bieber. He has a WAR of 2.8, making $560,000 for agent after 2024. This guy's going to be an ace once he hits his prime, and he's somebody that I'm a big fan of. 39, Rafael Devers, WAR of 3.8, making $615,000 for agent after 2023. He's not a great defender, but he's a terrific offensive player, and he's having the best season of his career. 38, Matt Chapman, a WAR of 5.1, making $580,000 for agent after 2023. This guy is one of the most underrated players in all of baseball, and the Oakland Athletics really found themselves a player when they drafted him. At least I think it's been at least 6 years already. So Matt Chapman is going to get paid someday. 37, Mookie Betts. He has a WAR of 4, making $20 million a year for agent after 2020. Because he's a free agent after next season is why he's not higher than this. That's just plain and simple. 36 and 35 are the two gentlemen that were the most talked about men in baseball last winter, and that's Bryce Harper and Manny Machado. Bryce, 1.6, making $25.3 million. Free agent after 2032. Manny, 2.8 WAR, making $30 million a year. Free agent after 2028. So both these guys have put up some good numbers. Machado for the most part, but Bryce has gotten off to a slow start with Philly, and he's been booed a few times. But that's going to happen when you're the highest paid player on your team playing for a big market like Philadelphia. 34 and 33 are the best two pitchers in the game over the last 2-3 years, and that's Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer. Verlander, a 4.5 WAR, making $21.95 million this year. His extension kicks in next year, making $33 million free agent after 2021. Max Scherzer, WAR of 5.3, making $30 million a year free agent after 2021. Both these guys are studs, and both of these guys should help their teams to the playoffs this year. 32 is Garrett Cole, a WAR of 3.7, making $13.5 million free agent after this year. Why is Cole higher than Scherzer and Verlander? Because he's making less, and somebody that is entering his prime. Meanwhile, Scherzer and Verlander are guys at the tail ends of their prime. That's why Cole is ahead of Scherzer and Verlander. And Garrett Cole's the best free agent on the market this winter, period, end of story. 31, Blake Snell, 1.3 WAR, making $10 million a year, free agent after 2023. You ask me why is Snell ahead of Cole? Because Cole's in a contract year and is going to get paid after this year. Snell's a while before he's paid. And Snell's the reigning American League Cy Young winner, even though he's hurt. 30, Steven Strasburg, 4.8 WAR, making $25 million a year, free agent after 2023. He's been great for Washington this year. He may have had a clunker or two throughout his season this year, but he's somebody that should help the Nationals going forward. And he's ahead of his teammate Scherzer because he's under contract longer. 29, Rhys Hoskins, Philadelphia Phillies, 2.2 WAR, making $575,000 free agent after 2023. Hoskins is somebody that is limited defensively. That's why he's lower. And why he's higher is because he's somebody that's still a young player that is entering his prime. 28, Pete Alonso, WAR 3.9, making $555,000 free agent after 2024. Alonso's been one of the only bright spots on the Mets this year and someone that should be a Met for a long time with his fine swing. 27, Vlad Guerrero Jr., 1.3 WAR, making $500,000 free agent after 2024. The reason why he's not higher is because he's limited defensively. 26, Victor Robles, WAR of 2.5, making $558,000 free agent after 2024. Robles is somebody that's a great all-around player and is going to be a great all-around player for years to come. And the Nationals should not be shedding tears over the loss of Bryce Harper. 25, Freddie Freeman, WAR of 2.9, making $16.875 million a year, free agent after 2021. Freeman, I think, is one of the more underrated superstars in the game and doesn't get the love and attention that he deserves. 24, Paul Goldschmidt, WAR of 2.1, making $7.24 million this year. Contract extension kicks in next year, making $26 million. Free agent after 2024. He's ahead of Freddie Freeman on this list because he's signed longer than Freeman, although Freeman's having a better year than Goldschmidt. 23, Xander Bogaerts, WAR of 3.6, making $12 million this year. His contract extension kicks in next year, making $20 million. Free agent after 2025. So Bogaerts really has had a career year this year and somebody that is a dark horse candidate for the American League MVP. 22, Jose Altuve has a WAR of 1.6, making $23.35 million free agent after 2024. There's people who are going to be arguing about Bogaerts being ahead of Altuve. But Altuve is somebody that's just a smooth all-around great player. And this is an out-of-respect ranking. And if he wasn't hurt this year, then his stats probably would be just as good, if not better, than Bogaerts'. And Altuve is just a great player in this league and somebody that's going to be great for the next few years. 21 is Josh Bell, is a WAR of 2.6, making $587,000 free agent after 2022. Bell is somebody that is having a career year this year. I think he's somebody that Pittsburgh has a chance of trading if the Pirates really don't get much better this year and commit to a long-term rebuild. So he's going to cost somebody a steep price if he were to be lured away from Pittsburgh. 20, Jose Berrios, 2.9 WAR, making $620,000 free agent after 2022. The ace of the Twins staff, somebody that's really helped them be a contender this year in the AL Central. 19, Aaron Nola, WAR of 3.1, making $11.25 million free agent after 2022 with a club option for 23. Nola hasn't been as good as he was last year, but he's trending in that direction slowly but surely, and he's going to be ace of the Phillies for a while. 18, Trevor Story is a WAR of 4, making $5 million a year, free agent after 2021. Story's interesting to me because the Rockies obviously have Brendan Rodgers and really like him a lot. So Trevor Story is not a lock to be a Rocky for life. So somebody is going to could take a monster haul to lure away Trevor Story from Colorado. 17, Mike Soroka, 3.2 WAR, making $500,000 for agent after 2024. He is pitched like the ace of the Brave staff this year, and he could be their ace going forward. I really am a fan of Mike Soroka. He was the Rookie of the Month in May, and somebody that should be a Brave for a while. 16, Lucas Giolito, 3.8 WAR, making $573,000 for agent after 2023. Finally putting it all together this year for the White Sox after looking like a bust in the early part of his career. 15, Chris Bryant, 3.8 WAR, making $12.9 million a year for agent after 2021. He's having a bounce back year after a dismal year last year because of injuries. 14, Javier Baez, WAR of 3.7, making $5.2 million for agent after 2021. He's cheaper than Bryant and more versatile. Actually, no, Bryant's more versatile. Baez is a better defensive player than Bryant, and somebody that really has turned his career around after looking like a flop after his first few years in the big leagues. So good for Baez. 13, Luis Castillo, WAR of 4.4, making $558,000 for agent after 2023. Having a career year this year. The Reds really haven't ruled out trading him, which I think is interesting, but if I'm the Reds, I keep him. 12, Jacob deGrom, WAR of 4.4, making $27.5 million for agent after 2023. He signed that extension before the season and literally took the money and ran, but he's still an ace, still the ace of the Mets staff. 2.86 ERA after a slow start. He is a dark horse to repeat as the Cy Young champion. 11, Aaron Judge, WAR of 2.6, making $684,000 for agent after 2022. Judge obviously was hurt most of the year, or else he'd be probably higher on this list, if anything. But Judge is a great player. I know his home road splits are not great at all, but that can't discount what a great player he is, both offensively and defensively. 10, Juan Soto. He has the same WAR as Aaron Judge, was a 2.6, making less, $578,000, and is a free agent after 2024. Because Soto's under control longer than Judge is the sole reason why Soto's ahead of Judge on this list. And Soto, as well as Robles, have made the Nationals feel okay with letting go of Bryce Harper. And Soto's going to be a star for a long time. 9, Fernando Tatis Jr. has a WAR of 3.9, making $555,000 free agent after 2024. Tatis is special. He's going to be a top 3 shortstop in 2 years from now. The Padres have themselves their star. 8, Alex Bregman, WAR of 4.6, making $641,000 this year. Extension kicks in next year, making $20 million free agent after 2024. This guy's a stud. An absolute stud. Nolan Arenado, 7th. He has a WAR of 3.2, making $37.14 million free agent after 2025. What separates Arenado from Bregman is that Arenado has one more year of control than Bregman. Although those two players, Arenado and Bregman, I think are very even. 6, Chris Paddock. Yes, Chris Paddock is number 6 on these rankings. 2.1 WAR, making $555,000 free agent after 2024 because he has so much control time, and he's somebody that's come in and really been the ace of the Padres staff as soon as he made his debut this year. And he's somebody that I think is going to be good for a very long time. And I wouldn't trade him for 5 guys on this list. I mean, 5 guys are the only people that I'd trade him for. That's what I meant by that. But all the other guys, no. This guy should be off limits for the Padres forever. And this guy is special, man. If you didn't see him nearly almost no-hit the Marlins, that was one of the better pitch games I've seen this year. 5, Walker Buehler, WAR of 1.4, making $570,000 for agent after 2022. You're asking me why is Buehler ahead of Paddock? Because I think that Buehler has higher upside than Paddock. That's what it comes down to for me. Both these guys are great. And I considered putting Paddock ahead of Buehler, but I went with Buehler, although Paddock has had a better season. 4, Ronald Acuna Jr., WAR of 3.5, making $12.5 million a year, free agent after 2026. This guy's special. He's the face of the Braves franchise, along with Freddie Freeman. And he's somebody that's great offensively and defensively. Going to be around for a while. 3, Christian Yelich has a WAR of 6, making $7.08 million, free agent after 2021, option for 2022. This guy is going to be in a race with the next guy I'm going to mention for the NL MVP, and that's Cody Bellinger, who has a WAR of 6.8, making $605,000, free agent after 2023. Bellinger and Yelich are the two-horse MVP race in the National League. I think whatever one avoids an injury wins, unless if the Brewers miss the playoffs, then that really puts it in Bellinger's favor. And number 1, no doubts about it, Mike Trout, Los Angeles Angels. He has a WAR of 6.7, making $35.68 million, free agent after 2030. Smart going by the Anaheim Angels, or Los Angeles Angels, Anaheim, I should say, for locking him up long term. He's the best player in the game, and there's going to be no doubts for that for a very long time, and he's a deserving number 1 on this list. Don't argue with me. Mike Trout is the most untouchable and most untradeable player in baseball because he is flat out great. He hits for average. He hits for power. He's fast. He's a superb defensive player in center field. He's the best center fielder in the game, both offensively and defensively. And this guy isn't going anywhere soon. So there you have it. 2019 summer trade value rankings as the trade deadline approaches on Wednesday. We'll see who of the top 100 gets moved. I know for sure that maybe Trevor Bauer gets moved. I know for sure Kirby Yates will. Maybe somebody like Felipe Vasquez gets moved. Will Smith is somebody I had on the list as an honorable mention. Maybe some of the honorable mentions move, but other people on this list I think that could move are Vasquez and Yates and maybe Trevor Bauer. 97 guys on the top 100 moved. All right, maybe I'll do this for the other 3 professional sports within the next few weeks or so. And maybe at the end of the week I'm going to have guests on to analyze the trade deadline moves and whatnot. Have a good night, everybody.